Okay, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's the last day of June the 30th, 8:15 a.m. I think I got my act together today, so we'll see. Yeah, yesterday's stream was pretty rough. I apologize about that. I changed over to Substack, and there was a lot of things going on, but I think I got it together today. So, yeah, Return of the Titans, huh? Return of the Titans. Look at this, guys. What the heck was going on? What the heck was going on with Tesla yesterday? Whoops. What the heck was going on with Tesla? Man, that was one serious Titan right there, and Google was right there with it. And Amazon, it was bringing up the third string. And then Microsoft, really not a huge day yesterday, but Microsoft has been really doing pretty well over the last couple of days. So have the giants finally awakened? That's kind of the question I'm kind of asking myself. And maybe now is the time to start thinking about that. NVIDIA didn't necessarily participate too much yesterday. But, I'll give a nice honorable mention to AMD and TSMC. Those guys were doing fantastic yesterday as well. So it's 8:16. We like to let everybody get a chance to get into the house and pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee. Welcome to the stock chart history pre-market show. Yulissa, SK, Lynn, William, Arnold. Arnold, you were the early bird in the house, okay? So you're the guy that actually is just like this. You're the guy who is going to prepare. You guys, this is what it's all about. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail, and that's exactly what it's about. And I just want to thank everybody who's been coming to this pre-market show and who subscribes to my newsletter because I went on one of the longest daily winning streaks. When I say daily, I don't mean that every single trade I made was actually a win, but I went for 2 weeks where I did not have a losing day. And part of that is because I'm preparing for you, and that's even making me more prepared. So I want to thank you guys out there. Maria, welcome into the house. Let's get started, okay? We're going to start over here with what's going on in the stock market right now. And so the NASDAQ continues to be the leader amongst the group. The Russell is a little bit absent from this rally, so it's a little bit of a question mark, isn't it, right? But in the meantime, everything is actually looking pretty good so far today. The VIX is staying kind of cooled off, so that's not a problem. Your bonds are really just kind of flat, so that's also not a problem. And when we look at oil, oil's up a little bit, but it's not into any numbers that are really concerning, so that's not a problem there. And then your metals, they kind of look like they're starting to wake up a little bit too when you're thinking about it, right? The metals have been a laggard for a long time. So we're looking at metals and we're looking at Mag 7. And, it's not as far as like sleeping giants, maybe that's not something for us to sleep on. But in the meantime, that dollar just continues to creep up. Now, once again, this is a week where we're going to get a lot of numbers. And these numbers are actually going to be about inflation. So this whole scenario could actually change in a heartbeat. So I want you to be aware of that. And it actually begins today with the jolts. Let's see how the market traded yesterday. So when we're looking at how the market traded, basically, you didn't have too much going on the Dow, just kind of make a sideways consolidation, which is really what I was kind of expecting out of most of the market. But look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was just up big time, 522 points, 2.07%. And then it was bringing the S&P up with it. But the Russell, even though it had that dip and that rise up, it was really not participating, right? So that's exactly what we had going on. The NASDAQ looked like there was going to be a look below, but then it ripped higher and it brought the S&P up with it. So how did it do it? Let's take a look at that, because that's going to be very important for our analysis, right? Well, how it did it was right here. Look at this move on Tesla yesterday, almost 10% on a large cap stock. Look at these moves on the heart right here, CLAC, AMAT, and LRCX. But not only do we want to show them, STX and WDC also were up in the 10% range. massive moves. And then a massive company, look at this CapEx on this company right here, a massive company like this, moving 5%. You don't think that that's going to do something for the market? Honorable mention goes out to AMD as well. So great job, AMD. And then over here in the industrials, we got to give a mention to GEV and to CAT. And then one more, Amazon, a major move on Amazon as well. Now, the rest of the market, not so much, but these guys here, they really ripped it up. So what a great move it was in the market, but it was a little thin, because not only was, kind of this heart right here that we're looking at, not totally participating, but other than like the big movers there. But we did have over here, by the way, there was one other thing over in cyber. Cyber had an amazing move yesterday as well. All right, that's kind of the overview about how the market traded yesterday. Let's take a look at what we're looking at for the numbers today. Guys, be aware that come around 9:30 today, 9:45 actually, we got Chicago PMI, consumer confidence, and JOLTS coming out. So you could see some volatility around that. And this is going to be the first salvo in regards to the inflation piece, okay? So be careful about that. Maybe mark that out on your calendars. And right now, the market might just kind of consolidate, maybe take a breath from yesterday's move, think about it, and see where we're going to actually come with these initial numbers on what we're talking about. It's a big week for rates and stuff like that. I also want to show you this really quick. This is fascinating to me. I just looked at it for just a second, but the fear index is actually really kind of bottoming, It's on the 27 mark, and I'm kind of surprised about that considering the type of day that we had yesterday, but it doesn't move, all of a sudden in one day. But being down around 27 probably gives us some additional upside. Guys, I've been reworking this pre-market report, and I will get this thing fine-tuned to where you can view this on your mobile phone. And Norris, welcome to the house. Beverly, welcome to the house. Norris, I know that you need this thing on your mobile phone to be able to view it, and actually so that you can, because a lot of times you're not able to get to your computer and view this kind of stuff. I think I'm going to have this thing figured out tomorrow to where it'll be much more viewable on your mobile phone. Let's take a quick look at actually what's on this right now. So technology attempts to make a rebound. Oil is retreating. SMCI, boy, this company here just constantly seems like they're actually getting in trouble. It looks like they might be getting in trouble for selling NVIDIA chips that should not have been sold, illegally exporting. So SMCI is not only bringing the heat on themselves, but possibly even into this whole NVIDIA piece as well. So that's something to pay attention to. Alphabet being added to the Dow. This is I don't believe this is the reason why we saw that Alphabet move yesterday. But Alphabet is getting a lot of attention, and it's actually probably going to go on our trading list. And then I already mentioned that the 9:45, 10 o'clock numbers are coming out. You need to pay attention to those numbers, right? Continuing down this list, you got very narrow leadership. We talked about that. Crypto divergence. We did not talk about that. So crypto's not necessarily participating in this move. So we're kind of waiting to see on that. This morning, boy, your space and your defense things they're gapping up like crazy, So the market's seemingly looking for more. It got a great thrill yesterday. It's looking for more speculation opportunity today. That can be fantastic. It can rip the market higher, but it also can turn around on a dime. So be careful about that. Really nothing to talk about in the earnings reports. On yesterday's move, we already talked about this. This was your big mover, the NASDAQ, and it actually was lifting. It was lifting everything higher. So that's what's going on with that. The bonds and the DXY basically pretty happy that the VIX is kind of cooling off. So we're happy about that. We can move on past this as well. And the S&P sectors, this is exactly what you want to see on your S&P sectors. These guys leading the way. So we're looking pretty good on the S&P sectors. The extended heat map is the same. You guys, this is the pre-market report. If you don't receive this, I'm not going to go over it in detail because that's not what this is about. But if you don't receive this, this is actually part of the way you can prepare for the day. Look at this, guys. Look at the space and biotech and stuff. This is all your pre-market gap ups right now. And look at ASTS right there. There's one that you might want to put on the books right there to take a look at. And then also Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab's having not only a great week, but a great pre-market today. AMAT and LRCX, those are actually having incredible weeks as well. So what else we got going on here? The other thing that we got going on here is on the pre-market gap down over here. You basically only have two tickers on here. MicroStrategy, okay, had a great day yesterday, and so did NNBR, but they're pulling back pretty substantially. But only two tickers for the entire list, so that tells you the market's bullish. And then this is the one part right here that I wanted to show you is on the MAG 7, right? So looking at the MAG 7, we're looking at Tesla. You know, SpaceX, you know, it's on there only because it's become a major mover in regards to the CapEx. But then Google, look at Google, and then Meta. Let's give Meta an honorable mention, and Amazon. These sleeping giants woke up yesterday. They deserve a mention. Your leadership analysis, DRAM's kind of lagging actually. So you really want to see this guy being like the one that's leading because they've been the one that's leading, but it's just barely up. But the SMH is up fantastic. The QQ's up fantastic. This is kind of neutral right here. TLT was slightly bullish. It's actually pulling back today. The VIX is cooling off. That's bullish. And then crude being slightly bearish. That's bullish. So all of this actually leads us to a bullish market. Going down here and looking at your call walls and your put walls, the biggest number that's jumping out here is basically your 739, 740 number. It's got all kinds of put and call walls right there. That is a battle zone right now. That is the demarcation zone. Whoever wins that battle, that's the direction that we're going. So right in that 738 and 740 area, and it's trading at 741 right now, but it's just barely above that. So that's what we're looking at on that. It's time to start showing some charts. We're into the call now for about 15 minutes. We've already talked about the leadership board, so I'm actually going to skip past this. I was going to start with that, but we can skip past it. Go to market overview. So great move in the market yesterday. We're looking at a 24-hour time frame chart, and actually I'm going to zoom them in just a little bit, zoom them all in here. Just to see the candles, those are out a little bit too much. Zoom these guys in, and zoom this guy in. Okay, there you go. All right, so what we're looking at is we are up above now my algo numbers that we had put in there before, but it's kind of holding that. Now, you know, this is really just a back test right now. If it runs up into this blue line right now, it's a back test of a breakdown out of the daily uptrend channel. And we've seen this playbook before because this playbook right here was a back test off the middle of the channel, and we lost it. So right now we're in a bullish movement, and it's bullish over the hourly and maybe even over the 4 hourly, but on a daily time frame, on a weekly time frame chart, we're actually still in a downtrend when you're looking at it, right? So I'm going to show you that right here. So right there, you are in a downtrend, right? That is a downtrend right there. So, and on top of that, what do you got? You got possibly a higher low right there. So, yeah, you know what? Is this bullish right now? Yeah, it's bullish. Am I looking to the bullish side on day trades? Yes, I am. Am I staying very long? Not necessarily. It depends on the stock, and it depends on what my outlook is on that stock. We'll get into a little bit of that again later. So going over here, so that's the SPY for you. Looking over here on the Qs have the same kind of a scenario. It broke out of this spike through right here. It broke out of the daily right here. And now we're really just looking to possibly come up and back test this, which is normal behavior. And actually, it's the idea is that it's probably going to lose that. But if it gets up above that high, and you know, and I'll change my tune. Okay, if it gets up above this high right here, then then we're on a different game plan. So game plan on this once again. So now this is bullish, right? This is bullish, and you can see from like my labels up here, they're all giving you the indication that this is very bullish. It's all bullish, right? It's bullish right now as far as day trading, as far as maybe swing trading overnight, maybe even an overnight swing trade. But beyond that, beyond this week, or maybe even with the numbers coming out this week, it could end up being a problem. Still holding this this uptrend line right here in the channel, right? So we're in this daily channel right here on the Dow Jones, and I'm expecting it to kind of eventually get into this area right here and lose it. That's my first choice on that. It can go up above, but usually these things hold. That's why it's a channel, and we have the same thing going on over here. This is actually a weekly trend right here when you're looking at this. So it's inside of a weekly trend, and it's coming into the middle of this weekly trend right here. So that's the middle of it right there, right? It's coming into the middle of the weekly trend. But then on here, you see the blue right here? That's a daily trend line right there, or a daily channel, and it's slightly losing it. So and I'm anticipating that eventually this is going to pull back at least to the middle, at least to the bottom of that weekly channel, right? So that's what we're looking at on the IWM. Bitcoin is looking weak. It's breaking down out of the lows. Hallelujah. It needs to. I want to get some Bitcoin. You know that, and it has not given me the confidence to buy Bitcoin right here. And so here we go. It looks like we're trying to break down as we speak right now. I'm looking at that candle right there, and it looks to me like we are trying to break down out of that candle, right? So love that on Bitcoin, and that's what we're getting out of that overview. So what is that? That's a bear flag playing out, right? That's that bear flag right here playing out, and it insinuates quite a bit of downward traffic. So guys, I'm going to put Bitcoin on the list to take a look at when we start doing a bigger dive, right? So gold also is actually just kind of hanging out in the lower end of this range right here, and it's kind of putting in a little bit of a bullish falling wedge right there. So if it breaks out of that, we could actually get a little bit of a relief up into this say 380, 390 area, into the zone right there. Now TLT has been doing very well, pulling up through here, but it's starting to thin out there a little bit at the top. And as I told you, and we kind of expected this, I told you we were going to run into resistance here and here, and that probably we were either going to stall or actually get a little bit of a pullback. It's actually had a very nice run with very little pullback through here. So I wouldn't be surprised if actually TLT, I'm going to use a little bit of the other chart, if TLT actually wants to do one of these numbers, kind of maybe come back around that area, and then maybe decide to go up higher if it wants to actually give us some interest rates breakouts. I've been telling you guys to watch this for a breakout. I was thinking about playing it yesterday, but that breakout is so weak, honestly. And this bullish falling wedge is actually so steep. I prefer to have it kind of angling about like this, but instead it's angling like this, right? So that's a serious steep on that. And that might explain why we got such a weak impulse coming out of it. But we were expecting that it would break out of this. So maybe we get out to 110, and then actually it's going to start to pull back, or maybe we get up to around 115. But this is such a steep breakdown that I'm not sure we're going to get a huge relief rally out of that. So, and that's good for the stock market. So that's what we got going on with that. Let's take a look. Let's dig into the SPY. All right, and I'll go ahead and turn this off, and it's time for me to turn my bright shining face off, my camera off. So actually we're looking at Tesla right now. I want to give Tesla a clap. You guys, doesn't Tesla deserve a clap? Thanks for reminding me to call out the numbers. Yes, I am calling out the numbers, but I want to make ssure I do call out those numbers, Norris, so thank you so much for reminding me. All right, the SPY is pulling back right now as we speak. So here we go. Let's dig into the hourly time frame chart, and we'll just close this window. We don't really need to have that window open. And I'm looking on my sheet here, and it looks actually pretty good. So I'm not going to zoom it in. I'm going to make sure that's actually the 15-minute time frame chart. So there's the daily. You know what? You guys, this is the window that I trade out of. So hold on one second. Let me change it over to the YouTube channel, one that I use for the stock market analysis. There we go. So this gives a little bit broader view for us when we're looking at this, and it's not necessarily a trading window. Now we're in the hourly time frame, and that looks pretty good. I think it's blown out enough so we can actually take a look at that. We're actually, as we speak right now, we're losing this upward trending 20 period moving average, but we're actually over top of this 200 period moving average. We're over top of this pivot area. And you guys remember I called out 740 to 738 area. And this is actually the PCE numbers that we actually put on last week. And they're still they're actually holding as far as being important numbers. Let me do this. Let me go ahead and remove this. This is actually a drawing. I put these buffers on yesterday just because the bulls were out on the bottom and the bears were at the top. Okay. All right. So what are we looking at? Well, the moving average looks great. You know, I mean, look at this 20 period. That looks great. Your 50 period looks great right here, right? So they're both coming up and providing great support. Your candle, I'm not really happy about that candle, but you know, it's been in a very nice uptrending channel right here. Let's go ahead and draw ourselves in a trend line for that and see what we're looking at. I'm going to follow that 20 period moving average. I'm going to say that maybe that's the low. So there you go. Honestly, if we could stay up above the 738 and 740 area, we're looking pretty good. Let's look on the pre-market. All right, so it's testing the low on the pre-market. I do want to zoom this out just a little bit because this is what I'm looking for right here. You see right here, we got a trading range right there. And that trading range is 741.5 to 740, right? And then you got a little bit of a volume area, light volume area right here, which takes you right back into this 738 area right here. See here where you have your volume, and then you also have volume here. So these areas, this area as a whole is kind of a chop zone. So what I'm looking at now, so let's put all this together, okay? What I'm looking at is that if you lose this number right here, if you lose this 739.5 number, it's a quick trip right back here into the 738 area. But that 738 area should provide support because you have a nice trading range of trades and volume right through here, right? So, and you also got the 200 period moving average coming to pick you up. You are right now underneath of the 50 period and the 20 period moving average on this 15-minute time frame chart. So it is looking like it's actually wanting to do a little bit of a pullback going into the open right now. And it's trading down on the bottom of the range. So your balance range for today is actually in favor of maybe a fake out to the bottom side and a rip up to the top side. So that is a possibility. You got one of these going on, right? But at the same time, with the numbers coming out at 9:45 and 10 o'clock, that might actually hold that off from happening. And once again, if you pull up underneath of these numbers, this thing actually could be a very quick rip and go down to that number. So I'm kind of looking at that. If for some reason we actually do end up getting up above and we do trade above this, then I'm looking for a show me that you can actually hold that 742.75. We'll call it 743. Show me you can hold 743, and then I'm ready to go long. So that's the playbook for SPY. All right. I want to take a look at Bitcoin because remember Bitcoin was actually really looking pretty rough over there. So let's go ahead and let's just put Bitcoin into the chart here. And Man, that weekly, if it loses that weekly low, and it's trying to right now, let's change this to a 20. No, we don't actually need to. Let's just go over to the 4-hour time frame chart and maximize that. All right, here we are on the 4-hour time frame chart. And so your most recent low is right here. There it is. I'm going to mark that number out for you. 57,960. You break down before 57,960, and you know what? This thing is a short. And if this is a short at that level, then that also means the stocks that, for example, coin and whatnot, those are actually probably shorts as well. So I'm actually going to put an alert on there for that, because I'm going to look for shorts on that if it actually pulls up underneath of that. And I'm just going to throw a regression channel in from the high right here to see how this thing is trading. And basically, there you go. We're in a walk down right now, but this walk down could accelerate in a heartbeat. It's already kind of moving in towards the bottom ends of this range. And I want to show you something. If you look right here, I think I got a, no, maybe I don't. Let me see here. Let's look and see here. Yeah, well, let's do this, 1.68. All right. There you go. I was looking for my other target. All right, there you go. So my other target on Bitcoin is 45,000. 45,000, that's where it's at. Yeah, this target's not, I don't think that target's going to get hit, so we can take that one out. So if it ends up really starting to get crazy around here on Bitcoin, that's what I'm looking at, 45,000. That's what's been giving me my hesitancy to actually get into this trade. And right now, this is actually a losing trade if you're trying to actually pick off the bottom on this. You should not be trying to pick off the bottom. And when you're looking at a 4-hour time frame chart that's just walking down like this, guys, remember what the trade with the trend. Look for your counter trend breakouts right there, and then trade that. Trade the short, right? Whoops. Trade the short. Maybe another counter trend right here. Not really giving us a really fantastic counter trend, but yeah, we could actually trade the short on that. Okay, let me see if I've got this actually set to auto. I don't have it set to auto. So yeah, that's a better looking counter trend breakout right there. Counter trend breakout. It's actually breaking the counter trend as we speak. So right now, this is a short, not a long. Bitcoin is a short. That means rips are to be sold, okay? That's what that means. All right, guys, I'm going to take a look at my 20 right now, because I have some beautiful ones on the 20. And what I'm going to do is we're going to actually create a day trading checklist together out of this. So this one here is definitely going on my 20. Google, right? Google's going on the 20, and Tesla's going on the 20. And the reason why it's going on the 20 is it's in a bull flag, but it's giving me a two-sided trade. You got light volume on this bull flag as well. So it gives me both the upside and the downside. TSM is also going on the list. Look at this. TSM's got light volume on the downside along with the upside. And it looks to me like we could actually put Oracle on the list as well. Let's see here. There you go. There's Oracle, light volume to the upside. It's a bear flag, but light volume to the upside. You know, Meta's been such a runner. I think that we should probably actually watch Meta as well. So Meta, I think, needs to go on our list. It's got a gap down there at the bottom. It's got room to run on the top, so I like that. And you know what? I think we need to put NVIDIA on the list, possibly for an upside play coming out of this trading range right here. And it's retesting the trading range. So it's actually trying to get some legs to run higher. So there you go. That's kind of the list that I'm taking a look at. Maybe AMD as well. Maybe AMD. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at AMD, Google, Meta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 of them right there. So let me do a screenshot of this. So I'll have it to make sure that I'm capturing all of those things that we're talking about. Put this over to the side. and we will get started with our list now and start taking a look at these guys, okay? Bear with me here for a second, all right? All right, so here we go. Building our list together. Let's go ahead and minimize this and minimize that. And here's your focus list. And we'll just put them down here. So Google's on the list. Let's take a look at Google. Guys, this is one of the reasons Google's really super interesting to me. And here's the reason why. Looking at this over here on the weekly time frame chart, okay? It's been on my list for a while, and I've already been making money off of Google, getting in and out. But look at this. It's retesting a prior high. And now it's actually gotten up above that prior high, which is insinuating that it actually is now, it's done the deed. It's retested the breakout. And when stocks retest the breakout, that means like, okay, I've tagged back up. It's time for me to now go make a higher high. So I'm looking at this, and I'm assuming that maybe this is actually this area here was my higher low. If it actually can hold that higher low right there, then this is actually not only a day trade, it's a swing trade. The stock is getting a lot of news and information and stuff like that. The stock is trying to break out of a downward trend channel right here on the weekly time frame chart, and it's actually in an uptrend channel on the daily time frame, right? And it's on an uptrend channel on the weekly time frame. So man, it has everything going on with it. I know that's a lot of drawings for you right there, but the main thing is this: it has checked into that breakout right there. It has undercut the breakout, and now it's moving higher. If this thing can continue to move higher, and it's in a bull flag consolidation right now as we speak, looking at it on the 4-hour time frame chart, there's your bull flag right here. And it's actually trying to break out above that as we speak. And I've been watching this one in the pre-market and asking it not to break out without me. However, we do have a little bit of resistance over here because it has been actually in the, say, 4-hour time frame chart or maybe even daily. This thing has been a little bit weak, so it actually does need to get above this channel right here to actually be a 100% go long. But this is a great move so far, and gotta love this wick out right here. So wouldn't even hurt for this to come back in and then check back in this breakout on the 4-hourly time frame chart, which puts you in the 345 area right there. So that's what's going on with that. Let's look at it on the 15-minute time frame chart. And this is a big reason why it's in this on my list. I love something that's in a consolidation range. Look at that consolidation range. That's huge. Pressure is building, and we got light volume below. So I'm bullish this stock. I will trade this to the short side. You get down below that consolidation range, and I will day trade you or scalp you to the short side, Google. So there you go. Now on the upside, there is a beware because we have this daily downward trending channel right here. So on the upside, 360 is going to actually offer some resistance. But if this is really strong, hopefully it'll actually, if it moves up into that, it'll actually just kind of just do one of these numbers and consolidate and set up camp right there for the next move to rip up higher. So that's what we're looking at on Google on the 15-minute time frame chart. Going to call the numbers out for you there. Here's the numbers, looking at it, and I'm trying to actually blow that up for you as well. Your pre-market high is 355.89, so let's just call it 356, right? And your pre-market low is 352.72, so let's just call that 353. You got to get down below 353 and hold it. You got to get above 356 and hold that, and we're going long on it. Right now, it's in the middle of the consolidation range, which is exactly where I want it to be. It's actually holding the moving averages. The moving averages are consolidating. This is a great look. I love this look, guys. So let me know if you actually have anything else on the list that you want me to take a look at as well. Let's go ahead and add AMD to the list. So I'm going to take a look at AMD. We're 849 right now. So let's take a look. Let's zoom it back out on AMD. AMD is much stronger than Google in regards to the hourly and the daily and the hourly time frames. You can see that it's actually in this on the 4-hour time frame. Oh shoot, son of a gun! There we go with the zoom out again. Okay, my fault. I apologize, but I caught it pretty quick there, right? All right, here we are on the 4-hour time frame chart. If you're looking at this chart right here, right? And if I'll go ahead and zoom it in. Don, you zoomed in. Pay attention to what you're doing here. Okay, look at this, guys. It's actually in an upward trending channel on the daily time frame chart. It's actually really, it never lost that upward trending channel. By the way, this got news today and an upgrade. So this could run not only because technically it looks really good, but it also has a news catalyst. So put this one definitely on your list today. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and extend these lines out because those things actually make a lot of sense to extend out. And it looks like it's trying to break this channel right here. I'm kind of liking that look as well. So great look on that. Going to zoom you back out. Let's go over, and we do have a snapback I wanted you to pay attention to over here on the hourly time frame. 542.19 on that snapback. 542.19, which really puts you in the middle of the consolidation range, and it's carrying the 20-period moving average on the hourly time frame chart. This is a really good look. Don't lose that moving average. Show me that you can respect it like you did here and not disrespect it like you did here with that big bearish candle. And we're in business, AMD. AMD, you are looking good. Let's go over here into the 15-minute time frame chart. I'm just going to zoom this out like that so we'll save some time. On your pre-market high, you're looking at 536.53. No, 544.82. And on your pre-market low, you're looking at 536.53. So look, this is an easy play. You get down below the this consolidation range right here. Actually, I'm going to tell you, you need, because you get below the pre-market low, it's probably going to come into this and then spike down to it and spike back up and do a retest. I'd like to see it actually retest and hold that pre-market low. If it spikes down to 534.5, hold that pre-market low and then drive lower into this 200 period moving average, which is 520.2865, okay? But if you get up above 545, okay, this thing could rip and run, okay, especially on the news. So you could actually take this and, put it underneath the 5-period moving average if it's ripping and running, or put it underneath the most recent 2-minute bar, 2 or 1 minute bar low, if you decide to play it like that. Okay, so that's about the best way you can play that if it rips and runs. If it doesn't rip and run and does a retest, you want to see that retest at the 545 level. What's the next one we want to take a look at? Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla really deserves to be on the board. Tesla's kind of breaking down a little bit right now as we speak. I'm going to take a lot of these things off of my list. This is a daily list that I prepare on a daily basis, which I did not prepare today. I'm going to prepare it with you. All right, look what's going on here, guys. Maybe let me go ahead and zoom that in right here. Boom. Okay, look at this, guys. You see this trend channel right here? This is a daily trend channel right there. And look where it stopped at, huh? This is why these channels matter. All right, ran right up into that daily, and not only into the daily, but on this weekly, that's the middle of a weekly as well. So you got the people who are trading the daily, you got the people who are trading the weekly, they're all acknowledging it's actually met its area of resistance, and now it's pulling back. This actually could be a go short, a very easy go short, super light volume underneath of us, guys. Super light volume, right? So look over here. You know, I gotta love this. Very light volume underneath of that pre-market low. And if it decides to run up, then we get up over top of that trading range. I'd be happy to trade this, get over top of the 413.25. I could actually be happy trading this to the upside. Wouldn't be surprised to see this actually pull back pretty easily into the 400 range, and when I'd expect some kind of reaction on this 400 because of the 200 period moving average moving up, because of this snapback, and because of the big round number. But then if it lost 400, watch out below, because then your next stop is really down around this 390 and then the 385 area. So Tesla looks like it has a lot of legs that it can run. Tesla, do me a favor, hold that pre-market low right now. I wouldn't mind trading you for a day trade today. So there we go with Tesla. Moving on to the next stock. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA is only a one-way trade because NVIDIA has way too much trading range underneath of us. You see it? You see all this gray area right here? This gray area right here and right here, and then right here and right here. That's, you see what that is on the weekly right here? That's a trading range, right? A huge trading range. It's a massive amount of volume. And that's why I couldn't bust through that. And that's why I told you I could not short NVIDIA right through there. NVIDIA's, this is nothing more than a chop zone. But if it carries over top of that chop zone, I would actually even be interested in the possibility of swinging this long as a possible swing trade if you could show me some strength, NVIDIA. Because what you got, and I've talked about this before, is you got a concrete floor over top of you right here. You also got a little bit of an uptrending channel right here on the weekly time frame chart. And if you can break up above there, I think we're looking at a move that can get up above. I know that's pretty hard to see on your weekly, but I really didn't want to drive into that. Let's go over here to the 15-minute time frame and let you zoom in right here. So what are we looking at on this? Well, okay, we want to get above this snapback, 197.83, which is pretty much your pre-market high, which is 198. So you get up above 198 and NVIDIA can run. NVIDIA is pulling right back into this range right now. Show me some consolidation and show me that you can actually break that downward trend. You could probably get an early entry right down here off of 196.25. Show me a doji down here, right? Show me a doji. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Show me a doji or a long wick like this right here. You see this right here? Show me some action like that, and maybe I can get into you early, right? So this was actually breaking this trend right through here, and it showed that strength, right? So I'm just kind of showing you this a little bit. It showed that strength right here with those wicks, and then it put in that bullish candle. You could have got an early entry. You didn't have to wait for it to break up above a number. You could have got an early entry in that chop zone. What I'm telling you, NVIDIA, if you can show me this kind of price action right around in here, okay, I'm interested. Okay, I'm interested. So what I'm looking at then is I'm looking for a breakout of this trend right here. And then I'm looking for a bullish candle to come out of that and show me some wicks, show me some price action around the 20 period and the 50 period moving average. And actually that looks like a nice trade to me. All right. So that's what you got going on with that. So let's go ahead and zoom that back out. And you know what? I'm doing pretty good so far about remembering my zoom. Good job, Don. Give myself a little pat on the back. Let's look at Meta. Meta has hardly ever been on my list, and I've looked over at Meta, and I've put it on the list afterwards. One of the reasons why Meta hasn't been on my list, by the way, is because of this. Oh my God, that's a terrible look, Meta. Meta, you got to get out of this terrible, terrible, terrible malaise going on the weekly time frame chart, and you're even trending down on that. So Meta, that is not a good look for you on a weekly time frame chart. Meta is really having some problems, guys, but eventually Meta is going to bottom out, and we're all going to be wishing that we bought it on the lows. Anyhow, so here, what are we looking at over here? On the hourly time frame chart, it's actually putting in a little bit of an upward trending channel right here. So I do kind of like this look right here, but it's also kind of breaking that upward trending channel as we speak right now. And it's actually, when you look at it over here, let's go ahead and zoom it back out. You look over here on the 15-minute, you know, it's kind of pushing into the lows. It's testing the snapback. It's testing the 20-period moving average. And pay attention to this right here. This is the gap right here. And guys, the top of gaps, actually, those end up being extremely strong levels. So you could watch the top of this gap, and if it holds the top of this gap, you kind of have the same formula that I just gave to you on NVIDIA. You could actually get an early entry on that. But if it does not hold the top of that gap, you got to be really careful. Gaps are actually called gaps, and the reason people love to trade gaps, gaps are what I call those thin zones. This is a thin zone right here, thin volume right here, and it can run down quick. A lot of times it'll run down into, say, about the middle, and then it'll bounce up, and maybe they'll decide to actually either come down and test to the end of it, or if it's a strong market, that's all you get is the middle of the fill on that. So that's what you're looking at on that. All right, zooming it back out again. And what are we looking at? The next stock I wanted to look at was Oracle. Oracle is really kind of in a bearish condition right now. So Oracle. Man, Oracle, look at this. Look at this weekly time frame chart. Oh my gosh, this is just horrendous looking. What you got going on over here is it's coming out of a bear flag, and it's trying to actually break down out of that. So Oracle is not a good look at all. And we also got this. Let me go ahead and get out of this. We also got this terrible looking candle right here that I need to remove. So let me correct that. There you go. And see how that actually changes your perspective right there, right? So we can't get out over the top of this right here, but that is putting in a little bit of a bullish falling wedge, right? So let's do this on that. Let's go ahead and let's just throw on a regression channel. Let the Thinkorswim figure out what that channel looks like. And I'm going to do it like that. There you go. I'm going to do it like that. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. That looks pretty decent to me. Okay. So I'm looking at, and maybe it's more like this. Okay. Actually, let's do that. Change my mind, guys. Hold on one second. This is part of the reason I do this. I could actually do a lot of this stuff prior to you coming, but you know what? Part of the reason I do this is because I want to show you guys how I actually do my technical analysis. So there you go. That's my trend line right there, right? And markets love to actually trade in channels. So I'm actually making that a channel. And it's a hidden channel right now because it's not showing me the bottom. But I believe that this is the bottom right here. And that's probably the bottom, right? Now, what ends up happening is when you get these bearish or bullish rising and falling wedges is you're really just kind of hanging out within the channel right here, right? So what you actually have going on, if I actually draw it from here to here, there is your bullish falling wedge, right? So it's insinuating that it actually could pull out of that channel, but then it's probably going to come back down and test that, right? So that's what it is. So we actually have this down here on a list for both the long and the short side trade. Let's look at this on the 15-minute time frame chart. I'm going to zoom you in. The consolidation range looks pretty decent over here, so I like that. We're in between 150 and 148. So if you break out of that range there, you have room to run both to the top side. Look at this light volume to the top side, and we also got light volume to the bottom side. Would love for it to break out to the bottom side, but you know what? The way the market actually is looking for losers to become winners lately, wouldn't be surprised to see this break out of the top side. So be ready to trade this one either way, guys. That's why I like this one on the list. All right, going to put TSM on the list as well. Where are we at right now? 903 on the time frame. 903. So TSM. Looking at TSM, and TSM had a really bullish day yesterday. Let's go ahead and we'll just continue to keep this one on the 15-minute time frame chart. You can see that it's putting in this very nice bull flag right here. Love this bull flag. Guys, I also love this consolidation range. This consolidation range is kind of reminding me of Google. It's nice and it's tight. Look at that. You got a 456 high. You got a 450.50, 450.50 low, a $450 stock on a $5 trading range. Huge, awesome opportunity of light volume here on the bottom side. You do have to contend with this snapback right there. So there was a seller right there. But it actually, it's still pretty much light volume. This thing could run really quickly down into this 441 area, and from there you actually should maybe see another support area around 435 and 441 if it doesn't pull back. If it pulls out, then the top side is the the look above. We're looking above 456. If I have anything else on my list, I'm looking over my list real quick, and I think I covered everything on my list. So I have Ulissa. Ulissa, you did a nice call out for me yesterday. Thank you, by the way, for letting me know that I was stupidly zoomed in, or no, not on the Adobe. You've had some really good call outs, Ulissa. ADBE. Guys, I'm taking call outs. It's 9:04 right now. If you want to call out, let's take a look. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's all I gotta say is wow. This could be I like this stock. I like this move right here. All right, here's what we're looking at. On the weekly, right? I mean, we got to recognize that like this is a massive move down off of that weekly, right? So, and it's actually trending down. It's in a downward trending channel. And it's even almost trying to lose that channel, which insinuates like a capitulation low on that. What I mean by a capitulation low is if it ends up losing, you see over here to the right, I'm going to keep it zoomed in for a second. You see how as that snapback on the daily, it loses that snapback. It could actually just do one of these rip downs like it did over here on the daily. And once it does that rip down, especially if it does it on high volume, that's the time that you could actually say, maybe it's time to actually get into this stock, right? So let's go ahead and zoom this back out so that we're looking at everything. It's well below the 20-period moving average, well below the 50. They're spread out. And what's going on right now is that you have a snapback low at this 196 level. I have a feeling right now that it's going to hold that snapback low. And right now, if the market this week, actually, to me, it feels like it's trying to find losers and turn them into winners. It's looking for the next big runner. It looks for something that has room to run. Looking at this on the 4-hour time frame chart, you can see that it's actually broken out out below that. It did a little bit of a breakout here. Let me zoom this in. Did a little bit of a breakout there, and then a retest. And then it's actually doing one of these numbers now where it's actually trying to break up above. But I also want to point out to you that what it's also doing is it's actually carrying now this trend channel right here. It's actually inside of that trend channel on the 4-hour time frame chart. So that's the way zoomed out level. Let's go ahead. I mean, I'm zoomed in, but let's zoom in here to the 15-minute. All right. What do we got going on? And this is what you end up seeing when you start out at the high level, and then you got this. Look at that. We got a gap right here, right? So this gap, it's already fading into the gap. It needs to hold this pre-market low, and that pre-market low is also a snapback. It's also the top of this downward trending weekly channel, and it's the 200-period moving average. So you've got all kinds of information over here. Huge amounts of information right there on your pre-market low. Pre-market low 204. If it loses 204, this could be a very quick trip down to around this 202 area in the bottom of this gap. Okay, and if it actually loses that, it has a swing low right there at 201.5. But it actually also could, if it ends up putting in what I told you is like those wicks and whatnot. Actually, if it carries all of that, you could possibly have an early entry right in through here as well. So you could possibly look for an early entry if it shows a basing effect right around that 204.5. If you get the wicks and breaks the trends and all that. Now you do got a little bit of chop to get through, but that's a possibility to get through that. And then this right here, if it does go through that, it's going to have some very rough time getting through this area right here, which is 206.25 and 207. But if it gets up above that, this thing actually has a lot of room to run. Because if I go back and I zoom this thing back out, and then we go over here to the daily time frame chart, I'm telling you, this will eventually tag back up to the 20-period moving average. It always does. You see how far out it was removed from it here, and it came down and it undershot it here. Now it overshot it. Now it's time to tag back up. So it's either going to pull back to it or it's going to wait for it. This doesn't have a lot of downside ability to take off right now because the 20-period moving average is kind of holding it back. It's kind of putting a leash around its neck, so to speak, right? So that's kind of the way I'm looking at that. Baba. Ah, wow. Maribel, thank you for the call out on Baba. You know what? I haven't looked at Baba in a long time. It's 9:09, and we're going to get ready to have to end this session, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the session. Guys, do me a favor. It's really important that you put a like on the video, and I would love it actually if you'd add a comment. What do you think the market's going to do this week? Do you think the market's going to break out, break up, or whatever? So Baba's got this thing going on, right? Baba's got a it's got a trading range, and it's breaking down under, and it's kind of doing what I just got done talking about, the possibility that Adobe might do. It's kind of actually looking like it's trying to put in a capitulation, what I call a capitulation low. Means that it's just gone so low that like everybody's given up on Baba. And at the time everybody gives up on Baba, that's the time to buy Baba. So Baba looks to me like it's getting kind of interesting, right? So that's pretty good. And you know, I've been telling you that the Chinese trade has actually just been terrible for a while. Look at that trend line, just terrible. It's not even that's not even really a channel. That's just like let's sell every single day. And you got it's down to the 90, it's underneath the 100. Let's look at this now over on the 4-hour time frame chart. And on the 4-hour time frame chart, actually, I don't think it's barely broken out. It's got to give me a better breakout. If you're looking at this on the breakout side of things, you need an impulsive breakout. You need at least one of these bigger kind of candles right here on a breakout of that. Right now, this is nothing more but than a continual meltdown right now. You need to see a bullish candle. Otherwise, the bulls have not gotten involved in on this, right? So if you're looking at this for a swing trade, which is kind of what I'm thinking, that would actually be the thing that I would be looking for. If we zoom this out a little bit on the daily time frame chart, I mean, I guess you could look at this on a short possibly on the daily time frame. You could actually look for it on a short on the break underneath this snapback right here, which is your pre-market low and your snapback, and they're also got a pivot low right there at 93.25. You lose 93.25 and you can be back down into the 91.90 area very quickly. I don't think that this is a go long at this time. But let's keep it on the list because eventually it is going to be a winner. It's not going to continue to be a loser forever. Great call out, Maribel. Guys, I always appreciate you guys. Thanks for the pre-market show. Thanks for actually all of your support. And I will talk to you later.